Sensational scenes at the Australian Open's party court as umpire desperately tries to get crowd under control. Cries of "Alex, Alex, Alex" reverberated around Melbourne Park on Monday afternoon. While the Australian Open's party court is often the loudest corner of the tennis precinct, today, the decibels went through the roof, as 20-year-old Filipino star Alexandra Eala took on American Alicia Parks. Thousands of fans had turned up at Melbourne Park hoping to catch a glimpse of the world number 49, who has risen to become one of the most exciting young prospects on the WTA Tour. But much to their disappointment, there was heartache for the 20-year-old, who suffered a 0-6, 6-3, 6-2 defeat by Parks. It has been a sensational 12 months for Eala, who notably became the first female star from the Philippines to rise to number 50 in the world. This week at the Australian Open, she is also the only Filipino in the draw for the women's singles. Her rise up the rankings came after her sensational run at the Miami Open in 2025, where she swept aside Jelena Ostapenko, reigning Australian Open champion Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek to reach the semi-finals of the tournament. Later in the year, Eala advanced to reach the final of the Eastbourne Open and would also notably stun 14th seed. Many tennis fanatics have been fervently following the 20-year-old's progress. And on Monday, thousands of supporters queued up outside Court 6, hoping to get a seat to watch Eala play. Many were unfortunately turned away from the arena due to the limited seats on offer. But it is clear that the supporters would have filled out one of Melbourne Park's show courts. Many who were unable to gain access instead gathered to watch the big screens in Melbourne Park's Garden Square. Inside the stands at Court 6, the passionate supporters cheered wildly, "Let's go, Alex, let's go." Many also waved Philippine flags aloft whenever Eala won a point. The support was outstanding. But at times, the chair umpire on the party court struggled to control the audience, and was forced to remind fans to remain quiet on multiple occasions. Half an hour into the match, the fans broke into a state of delirium, as Eala closed out the first set 6-0, forcing Parks to slam a ground stroke into the net. "Yeah, it was so heartwarming," Eala said on the crowd's support. "That's one of the things that makes a loss like today a little bit harder. The fact that everyone came out and really squeezed into that cozy court, I really appreciate it. I felt so loved." Despite struggling to adjust to the partisan crowd in the first exchange, Parks was brilliant throughout. She showcased an incredible mental fortitude to shut out the noise from the partisan audience and claw her way back into the match. In the second set, the world number 99 got off to a flying start, taking a 3-0 lead before Eala broke back to level at 3-3. Parks found another gear, winning the final 3 games to take the second set 6-3. After the match, the world Parks said that the noise from the crowd had put a fire in her. "It was very difficult," Parks said. "I was expecting it. She definitely has a good crowd. I just kept telling myself to stay in the zone. I was just so focused on the crowd in the first set, which is why it went the way it went," she added. "I don't know what my record is with crowds against me. It definitely puts a fire in me." Parks put her foot on the gas at the start of the third set, breaking her opponent to win the opening game with a booming forehand winner. Eala would save a break point at 4-2, but was unable to fend off against the advances of Parks, ultimately making an unforced error to concede the break. Parks made no mistakes in the final game to wrap up the match 6-2. The American will now advance to face off against 19th seed Karolina Muchova in the second round. Despite the loss, Eala reflected on being the only player from the Philippines in the women's singles draw. "I'm still young, 20, so learning how to deal with all of this attention," she said. "I guess this is one of the moments that I can reflect on what this means for Philippine tennis. I'm the only Filipina in the draw this year. I'm the only Filipina that's ever been in the draw, I think. So there are positives to take away. Like I said, so much gratitude and super thankful. The Australian Open has always been more than just a tennis tournament. It is a summer carnival, a cultural crossroads where elite sport collides with music, laughter, late-night drama, and a crowd that refuses to sit quietly when history is unfolding. Nowhere is that spirit more alive than on Melbourne Park's infamous party court, where tennis is played under a haze of noise, neon lights, and raw human emotion. And on one unforgettable night, the party spilled so far beyond the baseline that even the umpire found himself fighting a losing battle for control. From the first serve, the atmosphere felt different. This wasn't the polite applause of center court or the hushed reverence reserved for tennis royalty. This was Court 1573, Grand Slam tennis with a nightclub pulse. Music thumped between games, fans waved drinks in the air, and chants rose from the stands like waves crashing against the court. Every winner was greeted with a roar that felt closer to a football stadium than a tennis arena. As the match intensified, so did the crowd. Long rallies ignited spontaneous standing ovations. A double fault drew ironic cheers. Someone yelled advice midpoint, and instead of being shushed, they were answered with laughter. The energy was infectious, but it was also teetering on the edge of chaos. That was when the umpire's voice first cut through the noise. "Ladies and gentlemen, please. Quiet during the point." The request floated into the night air, fragile and hopeful. It was met with a brief lull, 2 seconds of compliance, before the volume surged back, louder than before. The crowd wasn't being cruel. They were simply caught in the moment, intoxicated by the drama unfolding under the lights. This was entertainment, and they wanted to be part of it. But tennis, for all its evolution, still demands order. Players need silence to serve, to focus, to breathe. As the match edged toward its climax, the interruptions became more frequent. Cheers erupted mid-rally. Phones flashed. Someone began a chant just as a second serve was tossed. Again, the umpire intervened, this time with urgency creeping into his tone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need your cooperation. Please respect the players." The camera caught him leaning forward in his chair, hands raised in a universal plea for calm. For a moment, the contrast was striking, one solitary figure in official blue, trying to tame thousands of fans riding the adrenaline of a summer night. It felt almost symbolic, a reminder that while the Australian Open embraces its party reputation, there is still a fine line between passion and pandemonium. The players, too, were visibly affected. One paused before serving, shaking his head with a half-smile that suggested disbelief as much as frustration. The other soaked it in, feeding off the noise, pumping his fist as if daring the crowd to get louder. The court had become a stage, and the audience refused to be silent spectators. Then came the breaking point.